Afternoon. It's Kimball Sargent, your self care coach here, and I'm really excited. In today's lesson on how to live well in a sick world, I want to talk to you about moving because moving is essential. And when I talk about moving, it's every single joint, and you have lots of those. So you might say, well, what does moving really do for me? Well, I will tell you that one of the key factors in having a strong immune system, and again, we're living in this pandemic, is exercise. Dr. Campbell and Dr. Turner from the University of Bath found that exercise helps the immune system find and deal with pathogens. And in the long term, it slows down the problems with the immune system that are caused by aging. Well, think about what we've been hearing in this pandemic time is, do you want that immune system to be strong? Well, sure. And so you want to be exercising. And there were some articles out there that I found, and they addressed it, that some people were concerned about the stress that exercise causes on your immune system. And I know a lot of people who don't like to exercise say it's really hard. Well, guess what they found? That one of the things, look at athletes, they don't have more infections than other people. But what they were looking at, that infections are more likely to be linked with poor diet and nutrition, psychological stress, insufficient sleep, and travel, where you are exposed to pathogens. So I want you to think that if you don't want to move for any other reason other than just the health of it, it's important. But last week we were talking about nutrition and getting that body that you want. And we talked about the importance of protein. We've talked about the importance of the good fats. And today I'm going to talk with you about the movement. Because moving is where we get our metabolism up, and that's where we get the bodies we want. So there's two goals, just two things that if you focus on with exercise, that will make a huge difference. And then I'm going to share the benefits with you. So first, you want to get your heart rate up. You need aerobic exercise. Now, you might say, Kimball, I just don't have time to go to the gym. Oh, by the way, right now the gyms are closed. But you can do it in your own home. And let me ask you this. Could you not set aside 15 minutes to do some brisk exercise? And what if you did that twice a day? Now, a really simple thing could be just taking two 15-minute walks a day. And the benefits of that is that it would be two bursts that got up your heart rate. But you could do it inside and you could do it in 15 minutes. Here's a way that you can do some interval training. So for 1 minute, just start jumping. You can do jumping jacks. You can jump up and down. If you've got a rebounder, get on it. Go for a minute and then get down and then just walk. Walk in place. You're not running, but you're walking. Then once you have done that for 2 minutes, then get up and jump again. And just keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And do it for 15 minutes. You're raising the heart rate and you're letting it come back down. It's a great way to boost metabolism and to strengthen your immune system. Now, the other thing is that our muscles need to be moved around. So there's also weight training. And what they suggest if you're going to do weight training is you do it twice a week. Well, that's pretty easy. Make it Tuesday and Thursday. And you're going to do 12 to 15 repetitions with weights. And you want to work on your abdominal muscles, your biceps, your glutes, and your quads. Now that's pretty simple, isn't it? You could be doing your jumping or your walking, and then you can do your weight training 2 days a week. So what are the benefits of exercise? Because I think there's a lot of people that when they talk about exercising, they just get this really bad look on their face, like they don't like this at all. But how about, do you know anybody, or have you ever felt a little bit depressed? Well, depression, there's studies that show, and I'm always telling both my coaching clients and my mental health clients that there was a study done that with 90 minutes of exercise a week for 6 weeks, they got as much change in depression as they did from an antidepressant. And guess what? No side effects. So that's a really big thing. And Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that 15 minutes a day of walking over an hour reduced the risk of depression by 26%. So what if you want to be one of those people who's proactive and avoid depression? Well, that's a way to do it. Now, it's a depression fighter, but why? Well, it promotes all kinds of changes in the brain. You've got all these wonderful chemicals up there, and it helps to balance those out. It is important in neural growth. It reduces inflammation. And remember, I've been talking to you. Inflammation is the key cause of disease. And it also helps develop new activity patterns, which we call neural pathways, which means you can learn better. It also releases endorphins. And if you don't know, endorphins are your body's natural morphines. So it will energize your spirits and make you feel good. Exercise is also very good if you've got things that are on your mind, that you've gotten into one of those loops, a negative loop that you're going around with bad thinking. Well, the exercise will distract you, and that will make a huge difference. Exercise is also effective as an anti-anxiety treatment. It relieves tension and stress, it boosts physical and mental energy, and it enhances well-being through those endorphins again. So you can use this, and I would suggest that you also use mindfulness as well. Be thinking about what you're doing with that exercise. How many repetitions? How does it feel in your body? Really making note of that. How are you breathing? All of these things are important. Think about how your muscles feel when you're tense. When you're tense, you're very rigid. You might feel this in your face. You might feel it in your neck. You could feel it in your shoulders, your back, all of these areas. Well, when you exercise and after you exercise, think about how that feels. You might also, when you're stressed out, have problems with insomnia, heartburn, stomachache, diarrhea, frequent urination. Does these sound familiar? Well, what they found is that when you're exercising regularly, that the physical symptoms tend to start going away. I don't know what causes it, but it works. So exercise is a great way to break the cycle for these problems that we're having. There's even been some work that showed that exercise can be helpful with PTSD and trauma. When you have PTSD or trauma, you're kind of in one of these stuck places. And so when you exercise, it helps your mind wander away from those places that you're over focusing, and moves your mind to the joints and the muscles and the movements. And I'm going to talk to you at the very end about a type of exercise that I'm an instructor for. And I'll tell you, it is so much fun. So you don't have to think of exercise as being hard. It can actually be something that's fun. And hey, when we feel better, doesn't that make whatever we're doing a little bit nicer? So what about the age you're exercising? Well, if you've got kids, you want them to exercise. We know that kids that engage in aerobic exercise have fewer behavior problems, they have better attention at school, and they sleep better at night. Don't you want the Rugrats to go to bed on time? And then there's midlife. So midlife, you're busy with the kids, you're running around all day. Why would you want to do more exercise? Well, there were 11 studies that showed that regular exercise in midlife could significantly reduce the chances of your getting Alzheimer's when you aged. About a 30% decrease. That's that was just for dementias. Actually, it was 45% for Alzheimer's specifically. So what you're doing in midlife is going to determine how you're living when you get to be older. One of the studies looked at 2,000 men, and they followed them over 35 years, and there were 5 behaviors that they were assessed for that were going to show their chances of getting Alzheimer's. 1 was regular exercise. 2 was not smoking. 3 was moderate alcohol consumption. I'm not telling you to start drinking, but it was one of the things they looked at. Healthy body weight and healthy diet. And overall, people who followed at least 4 of those 5 had a 60% less chance of getting dementia. That is pretty impressive. So it's pretty obvious that exercising in midlife is something that can be very helpful to you. Well, what about as you get older? Is it as important then? It certainly is. There was a study done in Scotland of people who were 70 years old and active, and they experienced much less brain shrinkage, because that's one of the things. As we get older, our brain shrinks down some. But they had less shrinkage over 3 years than those who did not. And there was actually a study out there that showed that people that were engaging in aerobic exercise 2 to 3 times a week could actually reverse some of the brain shrinkage. So I want you to think about that aging is not the equivalent of being sick. I talked to you way back about the Delaney sisters. At 60 years of age, those ladies decided that they were going to live a long time, and so they needed to exercise every day, and they did. And one lived to be 106, and one lived to be 110. And they were healthy up until the end, living on their own, taking care of themselves. They were even doing gardening. So, along with all the other healthy things I've been talking about, I want you to be exercising. Now, there's a kind of exercise called NIA, N-I-A, and I am a NIA teacher. And NIA is a way to alleviate anxiety and stress, provide calmness for your body, weight loss, increased strength, and release of discomfort. And NIA started in 1983. Carlos and Debbie Rosas were a part of the aerobics boom out in California. And they started looking at how aerobics was taking a toll on people and what could they do to help people get those benefits but not hurt themselves. And so they worked together to create 52 moves of NIA. And they draw on a combination of jazz, modern, and Duncan dance styles. Then it integrates Tai Chi, Taekwondo, Aikido, and body-mind healing of Feldenkrais method, Alexander technique, and yoga. And it is so much fun. I've been dancing NIA for about 3 years now, and last summer became an instructor. And what I've found is it's a great way to reduce stress. And you know what's fun? I love being in the NIA classes. A lot of times there are people there from their young 20s all the way up into their 80s. And everybody, you just move according to your body. And it's a great way to energize yourself and keep that movement. Debbie Rosas was here in town last year, and I got a chance to dance with her and also go to a class. And Debbie's mom's in her 90s. She gets her down on the floor and getting herself up off the floor every day. That's a huge thing. You know, falling is something that people as they age get really scared of, and they're afraid to be on the floor, and a lot of times they can't get up. What do you think would happen if you were getting up and down off the floor at least a couple of times a day? You keep working with all of those muscles, and you keep movement in your different joints. My trainer in NIA is amazing. She had arthritis in her knees, and the doctors at UNC had told her she was just going to have to get used to not moving much. The arthritis, was going to take its toll. She hurt all the time. When she discovered NIA, gosh, I guess about 15 years ago now, and started dancing it, who knows what happened? But the body worked at healing itself. She doesn't have that arthritis in her knees now. She has great movement. She is so energetic. Kate Finlinson is who I want to be, just like. She's just a few years older than me, but I want to keep reaching the levels that she has. NIA is lots of fun. And it doesn't matter. You may have a different kind of exercise that you want to work on. But I'm telling you, you want to exercise. This is how you will keep your body young. Now, there's also a thing about thinking about what you're doing. Remember how I talked about mindfulness and all of this? There was a study done of housekeepers, and they brought the housekeepers together, and they had a control group, and they had the experimental group. And on the control group, they told them, the work you do cleaning rooms does not help you out at all as far as exercise goes. The work that you're doing here, it doesn't count. You've got to do something else. I don't care how hard you think you're working, you're never going to lose weight this way. The other group, they told these ladies that, you know what, making those beds and sweeping and moving furniture, you're burning this amount of calories and it's strengthening your body and it's doing a lot for you. Well, guess what? The study concluded, and what they found out was the people who believed that they were exercising had a 10% loss of weight. They had a 10% gain. They had a 10% gain in their strength. So exercise really makes a difference. So I want to thank you for joining me today. I am offering free evaluations. If you would like a wellness evaluation, you can find me at Wellness Solutions Today on Facebook. You can also find me on my website at https://wellnesssolutionstoday.com. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you again. So let's all live well in a sick world.